Hello fellow nerdmaids and nerdmaids-to-be, my name is Faith, and today I'm going to be telling you how I became a mermaid and how you can as well. So this is a question that comes up a lot. Either one, how do I start this? Or two, how did you start this? So let's start with me. I'll tell my story and then go into how you can get started. Now I'm going to be drawing from my own personal experiences, sprinkled in with a little bit of what I've learned about the mermaid community as a whole, but keep in mind that mermaiding is different for everybody depending on your age, your location, and a number of other factors. But let's just dive into it. Let's rewind to 7 years ago in 2014. I was 16 years old. The first time I really heard about doing mermaiding as a hobby was from my mom.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now, a lot of other mermaids are like, I've always felt the deep connection to the sea. I've always known in my heart I was a mermaid. I've always loved mermaids. No, I was the realist of the family. My younger sister, she was the one who was always playing fairies and mermaids and dress up and all this imaginative world, and I was like, I like computers. So I really didn't like mermaids that much. Like, I thought Ariel was okay, and I enjoyed the Barbie Mermaidia movie. That was probably my main, like, mermaid media that I consumed as a child. But in terms of wanting to be a mermaid, it was never really on my bucket list.
I believed in magic so strongly, and Faith would mock me incessantly for it and try to debunk my beliefs. And now look at her.
But I do like swimming a lot. I've always loved swimming in lakes and pools and ocean. Indoor pools is what I did most of the time during the winter, taking swim lessons and working my way up to being a lifeguard. Now, being practical and smart, I decided to do my research before diving in, basically on just where you could buy tails, and I figured out that the girl that my mom saw had a fin fun tail based on what she told me. I was also getting into doing YouTube at this time and looking at videos and learning how to search up things, and I decided to search for mermaid tail reviews, and oh god, there were very few and they were very terrible, so that led me to think maybe I should be doing this. Looking at Fin Fun, I saw a few of their tails that I liked, but I decided on the Ariel Green. This is an older model tail, you can't get it anymore, but I have it memorialized in this little picture frame. I bought it because I figured, hey, if I've got a mermaid tail, might as well dress up like Ariel for Halloween, so I bought this one. And I practiced doing my dolphin kick that I'd learned in level 6 and completely forgotten. I used flippers. I actually used a pair of my dad's water shoes as flippers. I wore them backwards and upside down, and I just practiced doing some mermaid stuff, and then I decided to take the plunge, and using my parents' credit card, because I didn't have PayPal, I didn't have credit card, I was 16, I bought it, I think in like a Walmart parking lot on the phone or something, but I got the tail, and it arrived, and the joy I felt was unlike anything. This was the most expensive item I'd purchased, besides maybe my cell phone, and it was really exciting having this brand new toy that I could swim around with, do fun things, and maybe make some film projects about it for my video production class. So I figured out how to swim in it by myself, which isn't too hard when it's a fin fun and I was already a proficient swimmer. I really only swam with either my family, my friends, or a couple other younger mermaids I'd found in my community. I really got into the mermaid community in about 2016 or 2017 when I started making more YouTube videos about mermaid tails, and looking back, they're real bad. They're real bad, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. So I started with both mermaiding and YouTube on just kind of a self-starter love of it, just wanted to try something new that I thought was cool. Before I get into a few other things about starting up as a mermaid, is that a lot of people think that they want to be a mermaid to be a professional. They see a professional mermaid like Mermaid Melissa, Mermaid Lyndon, Hannah Mermaid, Mermaid Elle in Miami, and they think, oh wow, that's like what you do, that's how you become a mermaid, is you have to be a professional. No, you don't. You can just be a mermaid. This is perfectly fine as a hobby. Sure, it's a little weird. Sure, it might garner you some stares, but it's becoming more and more mainstream. So here's what you need to get started as mermaiding. Just do it. Life is only so long, and if this pandemic has taught me anything, it's that those life experiences that you want to do, they're worth doing, no matter how crazy and weird they may be. So take that class, go to that restaurant, just enjoy a road trip. Like, life is worth doing if it makes you happy. So go be a mermaid. That's what I'm saying. Now there's a few other things that you're gonna need. There are many ways to mermaid that don't necessarily require a swimmable mermaid tail, but that's my area of expertise, swimming in mermaid tails in water. That's what we're gonna be focusing on. I would highly recommend checking out Courtney Mermaid's video on the subject of being a mermaid without looking like a mermaid. The good news about mermaiding is that it's for anybody. do my very best to eliminate any gatekeeping or elitism that happens in my circles. Get out of here! However, there are a few bare requirements to swim as a mermaid, both having to do with safety. If yourself or your child does not know how to swim, this is not something to attempt. Knowing the basics of buoyancy, propulsion, and breathing are crucial to have a safe and fun time in a tail. If you're not sure if you meet the requirements, check out this video by FinFun. Now, in this day and age of Amazon, I know it's super easy to go on there and buy the cheapest thing you see for a mermaid tail. However, this is not a scarf or a box of Kleenex. While mermaid tails are costumes, they are also pieces of sporting equipment. Think of it like buying a new bike or a pair of skis. You want to invest in something quality that you know is safe and that will last. As well, many of these fabric tails are actually stolen artwork from other businesses and tail makers, which is a sure sign of lack of quality. If you have purchased one of these tails, you likely didn't know at the time, and I'm sure you didn't mean any harm, that's okay. But I've literally seen these knockoff monofins and tails literally snap while people are wearing them. Like, I've seen that with my own 2 eyeballs. So just take that as a warning to upgrade as soon as you can. So again, the bare minimum to swim as a mermaid is a proficiency of water and a safe tail. So let's get more into the tail side of things. As you can see, I have amassed a large collection. There are tons of options out there and numerous brands to choose from, but just to keep it simple, I'm gonna say, go with FinFun. That's what I went with. Their ease of use, affordability, and nice quality is everything someone will need to try out the hobby without breaking the bank. On average, this will run you about $100 and $150. I find that the average tail by FinFun can last up to 2 years of consistent use, and that's pretty good for a tube of spandex. The next thing you'll need is a body of water. I mean, you can sit around in your tail, and most people do when they get it, but you're gonna want to try and use the thing, and this can be as easy as hopping in your backyard pool, or you might have a few hurdles if your local pool bans mermaid tails. I was fortunate enough to be able to swim and film at the community center I both worked and grew up at, which is pretty cool. Tails typically aren't a problem if you're not disrupting other swimmers or endangering yourself, so try to go to a pool during a quieter hour and be respectful of other swimmers. Some places still consider tails or even just monofins to be a risk, so here are some other options you can look into. 1, find a close city or municipality, because not all cities have the same rules. Try and find a gym or fitness club with a pool. You can buy a membership for that and swim some lanes in your tail. Not as ideal, but hey, it's still a body of water and a good workout. I find this is more common in the States, but if you go to a university or a high school, they might have a pool that you could use. Mermaid pods, I know, really enjoy going to university pools during their public swim. Now, this is climate and season specific, but going to a beach, just make sure it's a place that doesn't have a strong current, especially if you're beginning. My favorite places are the nice warmer lakes here in BC. You could also rent a smaller pool. That's what myself and a couple of my close friends have done during this pandemic. We've been fortunate to have a friend that lets us rent out their pool for use to keep it nice and small and safe. So try to find a friend with a pool, you never know. There's also rentals of private pools through an app called Swimply, and of course you could also meet with your aquatic facility to find a compromise or solution. Lastly, you're gonna want to find some fellow mermaids to swim with. It's not always fun to be the weird person alone in a tail at a pool. When I started, I basically just dragged my unsuspecting friends and family members into it with me, but to find other merfolk in your area, I used this magical thing called the internet. As mean as this sounds, you're probably not going to get a response if you find a professional mermaid in your area. But the good news and the untold secret of the mermaid community is lean. Most of us aren't professionals. We're all just a bunch of wackos who are actively losing money in this ridiculous hobby. Therefore, try to look for hobby groups of mermaids. So similar to if you had a oh geez, I don't know, what's a car? Porsche car, and you wanted to go to Porsche car meetups. What do? You search for Facebook groups, you look for groups on the internet, Instagram, hashtags, that sort of thing. Use the power of location-based social media. Like most things, start broadly with your country. So for myself, I'm in Mermaids of Canada. Join it if you're in Canada. And then I was in that for a while, enjoying my time, and I discovered that there was a few mermaids, a few that I saw posting, who were from my area, from my province, British Columbia. So then I started my group for Mermaids of BC. But in my sad suburban city itself, I can think of maybe 6 mermaids. But in the greater general Vancouver area, we have well over 100, with many more spread across the province. Most of the time these groups can be found on Facebook, but I would also suggest obsessively searching other social media platforms. I started this way by finding a few local mermaids in my area and then slowly drawing in more with the power of fear of missing out. If you found a local pod in your area, meetups are usually organized once in a while, or you can ask if anyone wants to join you for a swim. From there, you can branch out into what excites you most about mermaiding, whether it's crafting, fitness, performance, or simply just being a part of something fun that reignites your childhood imagination. I hope this video was helpful to anyone who was looking to dip their fins into the world of mermaiding, but keep in mind this is based on my experiences and everyone does mermaiding differently, especially based on where you live. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. Comment below what made you interested in the hobby or maybe even to take the full plunge. I'd love to know everyone's stories. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more of my face and other mermaidy videos. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye! Go be a mermaid. Just live your best life.